going to be 48 hours. That way, people get it done, and then we have the prize. And it's going to be for $1,000 with the photo that's on drudgereport.com right now. We'll post it to Infowars.com of Hillary Clinton where she's doing a great white shark emerging or cresting out of the water. And it's a cross between a great white shark and the Joker. I mean, she really is villainous, and I think it's an important meme to have the Constitution up on the top of the water or the Bill of Rights or America. You know, here she's coming. Or the Second Amendment, quite frankly. Because that's really what's going on here. So how do you illustrate her as the shark coming up with the Second Amendment? Because they're coming out with the guns. The delegates have told us we're going to get the guns. They have told us. And they're now stealing the election. And Google admits, yeah, we're not letting you see Donald Trump as a presidential candidate. He's just not listed. Think of the control and the openness. Where is the congressional investigations? I mean, it's crazy. And it's only getting worse. Meanwhile, German armed police finally smashed their way into a mosque and raid homes of a group accused of radicalizing Muslims and grooming them for jihad. Why'd you let them in to begin with? Anti-terror squad arrests passenger who launched into ISIS speech, forcing Dubai flight to make emergency landing. This is a worldwide jihad offensive. ISIS releases sick video of fanatics who butchered priests, why don't you say Islamicist, swearing loyalty to the terror group. Of course, they were telling us that wasn't ISIS, remember? Merkel admits EU is being ravaged by terror, but says Germany should welcome more refugees. The Spectator asked the question, when will our politicians accept the reality of Islamic terror? They're bringing it in. They control it. They're using it to take our liberties. Tourists banned from taking bags onto Cannes beaches in France over terrorist attack fears. See, all of you are prisoners. You can't bring a picnic. You can't bring some wine. You can't bring some water. You can't bring a bag. Because no one has rights, because your government brought these people in. I want to go to David Knight and to Joe Biggs, both to get a report from each one. First, Joe Biggs, I'm going to go back to your calls. Then Dinesh D'Souza joins us, Tucker Carlson, and more. But gentlemen, incredible job, first off, talking to Joe Biggs. Joe, incredible. You've been outside the convention mainly. You're inside now. We've seen David Knight inside witnessing it. I mean, you talk about zombified people. You have found folks more whacked out than even Abe Skrillex and Carl the Cuck and other famous people. I mean, these are like zombies that I've seen who've been through brainwashing camps. I mean, I don't know what's happened to these people. What have you experienced, Joe Biggs?
It's pretty amazing. I mean, there's been a large group of diverse people outside, to say the least. You know, you've got this Black Lives Matter group. You've got these anarchists. You have these socialists. You have just the pissed off Bernie fans who feel like they've been cheated. And with the DNC leaks, it's been proven that they have been. And they're all kind of like meeting in the middle and finding common ground. And they're massed in numbers of the thousands outside when they go out there. And last night they were able to rip down the wall. The police had to jump in there and start shutting it down. People were arrested. The other night I witnessed people jumping over the fence trying to get into the DNC to help support the Bernie delegates. Last night there was a lady who was yelling, calling this guy a effing white male, and that effing white males always speak over non-binary transgendered people. I don't even know what that means. I guess that's a new word.
What it means is you're not allowed to speak. When you speak, it's evil.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, no, this is what you'd get from a whacked out person that was in some, you know, Eastern mysticism cult or something. I mean, these are wackos.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw her start speaking and she goes, camera, please, cameras, please. I'm speaking, cameras. And I'm like, who the hell are you talking to? And she would sit there and just pitch this temper tantrum and start screaming whenever someone else would talk. And all you would hear was someone being screamed like fascist or Nazi or whatever. And they use these little terms all the time.
And then she had these weird little bully guys that would come over and threaten to physically attack people. I mean, it's just, these are victims, man. These are mind control victims.
Well, there's a kid. He's 19 years old. His name's Joey. He's a local. And he's been going around to all these protests. That's him right there in the white shirt, teaching people about globalism. They come over and grab him and start like grabbing him, pick him up,
and pushing him and threatening to attack him.
Because he went over and started trying to debate the girl, and and said, what's going on? This is.
And by the way, they hog all the cameras too.
Yeah. It's definitely been interesting to see this melting pot of retards, so to say.
Well, and we should be politically incorrect because these are the equivalent of, these are culturally lobotomized people. I mean, they are like someone who's had their brain cut into, and I mean, I laugh at it too. There's a new epic video that went up on Infowars.com titled "Age Skrellick and Carl the Cuck star in new film." It is adult in nature, but it is their characters that were created by the internet. Of course, we shot the footage. I mean, they say we're effing white males or anybody else and that Western civilization's a bad thing. So we've basically tried to get into their minds. Well, I mean, we didn't produce this, but this film, I think, is a masterpiece. Have you seen it yet?
No, I have not yet. I'll have to check it out. Well,
this is a masterpiece of intellectual tour de force that I think deserves an Oscar.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, wait till you see it. I mean, it's unbelievable. In fact, I want to find out who these talented people are. Other points, other observations. We're going to talk to David here.
I think tonight's going to heat up again as well. Last night a lot of people came out. I think once Hillary Clinton takes to the stage on this historic night, so to say, historic in the fact that we found out how deep the corruption goes in the DNC and how they can completely ignore it, spin it like it's okay, and the American people just go along with it. I think that's the historic moment right there. Not the fact that there's a woman, but the fact that these people have the curtain pulled away. They can see behind it. They can see the corruption, and they're still going, you know what? I'm okay with it.
That's right.
I'm with her. I'm with her.
This is absolute falling to the altar of authoritarianism, rigging everything, kicking the Bernie people out, bringing in the fake delegates, and then putting on a facade show. I think you can say more than ever, David Knight, reporting from the DNC, going back to Biggs in a moment, that this really is the time that you could say Toto has pulled back the curtain, and now America and the world must decide whether we're going to stay in fantasy land or save ourselves.
Yeah, Alex, you were talking earlier about creating a meme with Hillary as a shark or something. I think the meme would be something about Hillary jumping the shark and the rest of the DNC jumping the shark Hillary. That's what we've seen here this week. We've got the story, of course, by Paul Joseph Watson talking about how they're trying to fill these empty seats. Alex, inside the auditorium, we had to get out of there to get on the air because Katy Perry is rehearsing for tonight. She doesn't have her pyramids with her. She's got stars and stripes all in the background, not Illuminati eyes. So, they're cleaning up their act for tonight, but they got a lot of entertainment planned. They've got a card stunt that they're going to do. They've got cards taped to each one of the seats that they're going to show at some point in time. But the substance is what's the issue, Alex. Last night, I want to read you a quote from Barack Obama's speech. He said, Hillary knows we can insist on a lawful and orderly immigration system. Can you believe that he would have the audacity to put that in there after what he has done? When we look at what's happening in Europe with this priest, that is where we're headed, Alex.
Well, sure, and the Supreme Court ruled he's violating law. The law was already there. He's completing the smuggling process. They're letting people in with serious diseases. It's all confirmed. He's totally lawless. Exactly, but they're upholding the law, though, David, in Fantasyland.
Yeah. We know that Europe is a couple of years ahead of us in terms of the big wave of Muslim migrants from countries that we're at war with. And we just had at the end of Ramadan, about a week or so ago, we had John Kerry bragging about the fact that he had brought in 6 times the number of immigrants from Syria, where there's the war going on, bragging about that to a group of Muslims. And when I look at what happened in France, that was a first that they don't want to talk about on the Democrat Party. Okay, that was a big first. We haven't had something like that for several hundred years in Europe, where Muslims have gone in and committed atrocities like that in a religious-based motive. But of course, the Pope says that had nothing to do with the religion. You need to understand, we all need to understand that it's a Muslim custom that when they take over an area, they always desecrate the holy sites of the other religions, and then they erect their mosques over those former sites.
Yeah, that's right. The Blue Mosque in Istanbul, was Constantinople, is one of the biggest and oldest Christian churches.
Yeah.
And of course, it's now a mosque, and it's captured booty. It's cute though. It's cultural enrichment to have your daughter sold into sex slavery, as they did more than 20,000 of the Christians' little girls. So they could be loaded onto slave ships and taken to Africa to be gang raped in North Africa. But again, it doesn't matter that the Muslims created the modern slave trade, because all of the mainstream media teaches black people to be Muslims, because that's how you fight the whitey.
Well, it's just amazing to me, Alex, to see the bold-faced lies that are being told by the Pope, that are being told by Obama in terms of talking about how we're going to have an orderly system. And then today he doubled down on this. You know, the whole theme this week has been, look, Donald Trump painted a very dark picture of America. Everything is just wonderful, even as we're having daily terrorist attacks going on in Europe that they don't talk about at all. But then he doubles down and he says this. He says that the idea that America is somehow on the verge of collapse, this vision of violence and chaos everywhere. Where did we get that? From the news that they're not talking about. Doesn't jive with the experience of most people, but it will be our experience, Alex. We know this is going to be brought to America. We know the policies of Hillary, the policies of Obama and Kerry are the policies that are going to bring the same types of terrorism with bombs, knives, trucks to America's shores.
And we know the rest of the equation: official martial law in France, extended basically indefinitely, national police to go after people that criticize Islam. Same thing in France. The public can't have bags in public or whatever. Now, everyone's a prisoner. Martial law, but bring in more of the darling little 80% military-age men who invaded Syria and then blame the Syrians. Everything is a lie on a lie. It's like they're playing a game where the more lies they can pack into one statement, the better. Joe Biggs, what do you make of the permanent civil emergencies they're putting into Europe right now?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. You know, it's happening all over. I mean, the fact that they're actually bringing in these terrorists, allowing them to come in, and then expecting people to assimilate to the jihadi ways, assimilate to Sharia law, and not expect them to assimilate to their cultures that they're coming into.
But isn't it liberal to have your daughter's genitals cut off and to put people in cages and then not let your wife even leave the house, and then pour acid on her face if you want to and it's legal?
It's super progressive and trendy. I mean, it's amazing. I think we should do that to everyone. You know, I'm ready to get on the acid train and jump in there. And
well, why doesn't Hillary? I mean, you know, well, I mean, if Islam's so enriching, I don't know why she didn't have Chelsea do that.
You know what is interesting though around here, Alex, is the fact that the mainstream media keeps portraying that, you know, there's all these Hillary supporters, that everyone's united. You know, there's hardly any unity inside these halls at the DNC at the Wells Fargo Arena. Hardly any.
Sure, the vast majority are Bernie supporters, and now they're being kicked out, I'm told.
Yeah, it's like remnants of ghosts. There's like ghosts everywhere, like spirits floating around that used to be this revolution that it's just now empty and gone. And now they're all outside protesting at nighttime. But the mainstream media says, oh, there's like 100 or 200 people outside, when in actuality there are thousands and thousands of angry people. Now imagine all those people all across the country. If they would have shown up to Philadelphia, it would have been a madhouse out here. There's not just a few thousand people who are angry in this country. There are millions and millions.
And by the way, they know it's not Donald Trump that's screwing them over. They know it's the DNC stealing it from them. What's coming up next, Joe? What's coming up next night?
Well, tonight at 6 o'clock, again, the Revolutionary Communist Party are at it again. They're supposed to be doing another flag-burning ceremony, which I will be sure as hell attending and trying to put a stop to that, just because, yeah, that's ridiculous. You know, it's funny. I'm glad we're talking about this, because last night they were doing flag burnings right outside
and another
of the arena.
Idiot caught themselves on fire.
Well, here's the interesting thing. They started burning flags. They burnt an American flag. They burnt just a red flag. They burnt another stupid flag. They burnt an Israeli flag. And then they brought the rainbow flag over. And I said, burn that flag. And they go, well, no, that's not a flag. That's a symbol. I went, huh? I said, what do you mean? That the rainbow flag is a symbol?
They all engage in double think. Well, Joe, I want to be clear. I don't tell you to go grab these flags away. In fact, I mean, quite personally, I think it's their First Amendment, even though they're scum and even though they want to overthrow the country. I know the flag's been a symbol of evil for some people, but overall it's a symbol of good, and we should take it back. But I understand, as you, a veteran, and the rest of it, it's a symbol saying they want to burn you. And so, and I know you've been actually burned up in vehicles yourself, and so it's not a fun thing. At the same time, I just think you should show the rhetoric of how they're anti-gun, anti-family, and I think you should just let people hear these filth. I really think you should let people see the type of person that wants to see this country basically burn up into a communist hell.